Hello everyone, welcome to the session. I have one of my students, Simran. She has converted FMS. She is 99.17 percentile in CAT 2020. We will have her story now because again, being an engineer, again weak at verbal, that's the Achilles heels if I'm not wrong. So Simran, welcome to the session. Yeah, thank you so much for giving some time. I would love to sort of tell you that if you can just introduce yourself, your background, your academics, where you from, and engineering kahan se kya? And then we'll take ahead with your CAT preparation.
All right, sir. So my name is Simran and I am from Jodhpur. I have lived all my life in Rajasthan. After that, I went ahead and joined NIT Jaipur for my engineering, and I did my engineering in civil. After
Okay.
that, I have 8 months of work experience working as an analyst.
Acha, what was the industry you were working with?
Business analyst, I was working with a company Cartesian Consulting.
Acha, was it connected to civil या फिर अलग सा था?
No, it was not connected to civil. It was completely on a business consulting side, yeah.
Acha, okay, fine. So how you came up with the idea of doing an MBA? Like you wanted to get into like civil, or you wanted to continue with something else, or you wanted to switch?
So during my college, I actually participated and I was a part of the marketing team for our fests.
Okay.
And also, I pretty early in my course curriculum, I realized I do not want to go with civil as my career. And my interest came from there, being a part of the marketing team. My interest came in marketing and MBA so I explored MBA as my career option, and I thought it's fit for me. So I pursued it.
Okay, so how you started your entire preparation? I mean, like, again, being an engineer, I believe that you had an undue advantage over Quants.
Yeah.
So how you started your preparation? What was your daily schedule? Because you were working also at that point in time, right? So definitely work from home 10 to 12 hours you had to devote, right? So for working people, I mean, they would be definitely interested to know, like, how did you manage your entire time? So can you give us an idea about Quants preparation, DLR, and verbal?
Yeah. So actually, I feel I was pretty lucky in this regards because my work started late. Being a 2020 graduate, I started working late. So I had a few months of that I devoted completely to my preparation. I would actually I first cleared all my basics because even in quants it had been long since I had actually touched that, and that's an area of interest actually. So for quants I cleared all my basics. I used to maintain a formula notebook that helped me. I used to jot down all the important key points that I need to remember for every topic, and I cleared all the basics first, practiced as many questions as I can. Even if I felt that was repetitive, it just helped me increase my speed if I did some repetitive questions also. Because in the start, I had time. With DILR, I feel practice is very important because as many sets you can make yourself familiar with, it works the best for you. Because in the exam, if you have to come up with a new strategy, that's a tough game because you're already under pressure that time. But if you already see a set that you've attempted, like the set, that pattern you've attempted already, that helps you save time and quickly attempt it and get to the answers. So I feel I used to practice. I initially had a very low DILR score, in fact, and then I started practicing at least 4 to 5 sets a day, and I saw the increase within 2 weeks of doing that practice. Okay. Yeah, then I started having 90s, my percentile in DILR and everything. For VARC, it was a struggle. It was a struggle because reading का time भी नहीं मिलता था इतना, and moreover इतना interest नहीं था. तो इतना interest ही नहीं था.
That's the same thing with engineers. Like verbal नहीं आता, quant DI में पढ़ेंगे. So I think if I'm not wrong, 93 percentile is what you've got in verbal, and
yeah.
दोनों जगह पे 99 plus plus है, and overall 99.17.
Yeah.
Fine.
So for VARC, I actually came across your channel on YouTube. I followed you on YouTube like religiously. All the strategies you told. There are some videos uploaded about your classroom sessions as well.
Right.
Followed everything, tried to apply those strategies, and actually attempted CAT questions. Because in one of those videos you mentioned that if you attempt CAT questions, you get a better idea of what you need to do, and you need to think from the perspective of the writer, like who gave you the passage, and not what your thoughts are about it. So that is the strategy I followed, and it did help me. Okay. I came from 80s to 90s in that again. So yeah, nice. that was really helpful, and it also gave me a confidence boost when I did your YouTube videos, and you used to give us time to think about your answers and everything. And when it came correct, and your motivation boosts in the videos, in the middle of the videos were also amazing. So that helped a lot. Practice is the key, I feel, for CAT, and practice is the key.
That's very true. You go to practice. See, there are a lot of students, they believe that now there are 5 months are left and we will not be able to do it, and they have something like that. But I think practice is the only key, that can actually kind of because if I'm not wrong, like if you go back in the month of July 2020, how good you were with your CAT preparation? If you can give me an idea.
Yeah, so I had a confidence that I would be able to do quants, but then again, otherwise, I honestly, in the first test, in my first mock test, I scored pretty good. I couldn't believe that somehow, but after that, the initial tests were not great. I was scoring in 85 to 90 ka range, the percentile. So that was pretty shocking because I thought that I would be able to do great, but the VARC section was the shocker. So in the start, it was a challenge. It was in ways demotivating also because I had a different perception. But then again, practice is what it takes, I feel.
So you made a mention about 4 to 5 shifts on a daily basis. So Simran, you continued that for like 3-4 months, or was it towards the end of October, November? Like, how was it?
So in the start, I used to go topic wise. I used to attempt everything, even in Quants, Quant, DILR, and VARC. I used to actually attempt topic wise in the start. So getting all the topics ka basic clear, and the mixing up and attempting set wise wala pattern came towards August, September.
Okay. And when you talk about quants, like which all those topics you practiced a lot from the perspective of CAT? What was the important topics according to you for quants?
So I feel all the arithmetic topics are very important. All the arithmetic topics are important because a lot of questions are there, and that is one area where you can make yourselves comfortable with. Basically, there's only I feel only a set number of variations you can get in arithmetic.
Exactly.
So that is something that you can, if you work on, that could become your strong point and could really help you, and you always get a good number of questions in that topic. Apart from that, one thing you can give a lot of time to, which is tricky. Like these are two very different approaches. One is something that is not very tricky. If you're good with that, you can solve the questions. And other thing is very tricky. The mensuration wala part, geometry wala part. उसमें बहुत tricky questions आते हैं. तो उसमें practice, like I feel I practice in that because I needed to figure out a strategy to think a new question कैसे I would approach it. So that's what I try to do in these two sectors. I basically give most time to.
Okay, so definitely you had that love towards quants and that liking towards quants. What I wanted to understand is how many questions you would do per chapter. Let's say SICI ho, या फिर MENS ho, या फिर let's say TRIGO ho. How many questions you would do, and would you sort of do it for all the level of difficulty or just basic and then done? Like, what was your strategy?
So I first listed down all the topics, and then I rated those topics in terms of my comfort level with the topic.
Okay.
And depending on that, I attempted the questions. Like if PNC, for example, is something that I really like and I feel I'm good at. So I started with I did not do intermediate level questions in that. I started with a LOD thoda upar ka for that. So
because
that,
you were good at it.
Because I thought I was good at it and I am comfortable with that topic. And I did decent enough questions where I basically never set a question limit ki itna karna hai. If I feel that I'm achieving a good level of accuracy, that is when I left that topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you left the topic when you knew that, okay, you know what, I have now solved randomly 20-25 questions and I've been able to maintain the same accuracy throughout. So now I can leave and move ahead.
Correct.
Okay, that's a good point. But okay, so and by the time you have touched those 25-30 questions, you were sure that you have covered variety of questions in that particular chapter.
Definitely. I made sure that I also attempted questions from different sources. Sometimes, if you just do one book or one, source that you follow, it could give you similar type of questions.
Yeah, that's true.
So I did that also. I followed multiple sources for questions as well. And I tried to do as many questions as I can. Ek topic ka kafi questions karke. So basically the accuracy is what I aimed for. And like I told you, I divided my topics into my comfort level. And for any topic that I was not very comfortable for, even though I'm an engineer, I was not very comfortable with mensuration geometry topics. So, so I felt like I started with the very basics of it. I started from finding out triangle ki angles, and then I went ahead with that. So every level of exactly, I knew that I need to work on these basics more to get to the advanced level of the questions. So in this LOD,
so the thing that I'm just trying to understand is that, okay, so you know that you are good at something, start with the level LOD2 या फिर intermediate level या फिर advanced level. और जहाँ पे तुमको पता है कि भाई तुमसे नहीं होता है, you start from a very Now, Simran, what I want to ask you on a very genuine note, there are a lot of people, engineer, non-engineer, there are a lot of people, you know, they suck at quants. Okay? And they have this great anxiety and, you know, problem with quants. If you were to go back and just check out your D-Day again, out of those 26 questions, Simran, can you tell us how many questions were like कि यार ये तो कोई भी कर लेगा, अगर तुमने बेसिक कर लिया 5 महीना ये कोई भी कर लेगा. What was that number if you can quantify? And also at the same time, if you can also tell me that what was the number of questions जिसके लिए definitely IIT NIT वाला kind of, you know, caliber आपको चाहिए, if you can bifurcate.
Okay. Yeah. So sir, I feel 10 questions, 8 to 10 questions out of the 26 were easily doable. Matlab, it's just that identify करना पड़ता है, and you can do that if you've practiced.
Right. And they were conceptually driven completely.
Yeah, completely concept. Correct.
Okay.
So 8 to 10 questions were easily something that everybody could do. And if you talk about something that only, you know, math wizards or something like that could do, that would be, I would only say 3 to 4 questions were like that.
Exactly. This is what I wanted to know from you guys, because yesterday I interviewed Ankit. He's going for he's also joining FMS, by the way. Sorry, he converted FMS, but he's going for Lucknow, personal reason.
All right.
So this guy is 99.90, and he also gave me the same number. That 10 to 11 questions were like straightforward. Anybody can do it. There is no doubt about it. Like less than a minute. Why am I asking you guys is this? Because I know that, you know, 10 to 11 questions, maybe जो बच्चा maths का जो डरता है, यार he can actually clear the cutoff. With 10 questions, he can get around about 90% easily. So again, the numbers like, so so there are a lot of toppers I've been interviewing, and everybody saying the same number, 10 to 11. So now you have to understand, यार basic भी कर लोगे तो भी तुम्हारा 10-11 question आराम से निकल जाएगा. Cool. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Now Simran will move towards the mock thing, right? How many mocks did you give for the 99.17 number?
So I think I gave 35 plus mocks.
Wow.
35 plus mocks, yeah.
And you analyzed all of them?
No, initially I did not really realize what's the importance of analyzing, but then towards, like, you know, after attempting the first 5 to 7 mocks, when I was attempting more mocks, I encountered same type of questions, which I couldn't solve in earlier mocks and I couldn't solve now. So then I got to, you know, analyzing my mocks seriously. And then onwards, I analyzed every mock. Perfect. So in mock analysis also, you get solutions. And those solutions give you amazing pointers and like tips to how to solve that question quickly. So then I again used to note that down in my notebook, the formula notebook I had made. And that was really helpful.
Yeah, हर topper का है. Every topper would make the formula notebook and the notes and mock analysis. Everything, like, you know, neat and clean. That's required actually. So okay, one question for you, Simran. So when you talk about mock analysis, right? What was the area that you would kind of, you know, get focused? Like VARC ज़्यादा analyze करेंगे या quants करेंगे या DRR या तीनों को same level पे करेंगे?
I like at different parts of my preparation, different stages, I analyze different topics with more, you know. I gave more time to different topics. Initially, I gave time to quants because I thought this is where I can, you know, I can cover a quant quickly and then focus on other topics. And I will have one section that I'm strong at. Like I'm completely covered with that. Then I moved on to VARC and DILR. I used to do them in the initial analysis also, but later I've turned my focus towards these topics. And VARC was something that, you know, once you have your perception made, बहुत मुश्किल होता है किसी और के perception से उसे देखना.
Absolutely.
So that is something that takes a lot of time.
That's very true.
तो उसमें so उसमें in the middle stage I gave a lot of time to it because end में इतना time होता नहीं है कि आप VARC में समझने के लिए time दे सको. तो I gave a lot of time.
समझना भी अपनी पर्सपेक्टिव से होता है. हमें जो समझना है वही हम समझ लेते हैं और गड़बड़ हो जाता है.
Yeah.
That's right. Now another question for you, Simran, quickly. You being an engineer, एक ऐसा फंडा होता है कि engineer मतलब हम ऐसे जाएंगे और फोड़ेंगे हर एक क्वेश्चन टक 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 करेंगे, या फिर हम पहले ही एक प्री नोशन पकड़ के चले जाएंगे कि यार इतने क्वेश्चन पे इतना परसेंटाइल बनेगा. डिड यू डू दैट और लाइक यू गॉस लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी नाइसली एंड देन सॉर्ट ऑफ gave a lot of importance towards accuracy? Like what was your thing?
So like I mentioned, I gave a lot of focus on accuracy during my prep also. But initially I did come with this mistake of having question number itne attempt karne hain to itna percentile. Like, I initially did that and I realized it's not going to get you anywhere because that makes you leads you to attempting more questions that you should not, because that turns out to negative mark wala section then.
Right.
So yeah, initially I did that, but then I learned actually a lot from my mistake during the process itself. So later on I realized that is not something you should do. You should focus on attempting as many questions as you can. Try not to leave a question that you could have done. That is something that I focused on. That's all.
Right. And a lot of people say that engineer study was the end of like maybe a week before, something like that. Do you believe that, or do you advise students to start right from now rather than waiting till the month of, because people they wait till August. Yeah, August mein form aa jayega, fir dekh lenge. What's your suggestion?
I would suggest to start from now. So I personally believe that CAT is not something that takes a very long time to prepare. Not like very long. So if people ask me that there's just 5 months left, CAT ka portion is something you just have to practice more and more and more. For that 5 months is a very good time, but then again you should not delay it anymore. Obviously start karo and practice max. That's all.
Perfect. Now last question for you, maybe 2 more questions to go.
Okay.
You joined us for the entire GDPR preparation and all that, right? You also had calls from a lot of other IIMs also. ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਸੇ around 15 IIMs. You might have given a lot of interviews also. How was your experience during the interview, and do you advise these kids who are preparing for CAT now that they should start a little bit on the GDPR front also, reading newspaper and all this stuff? So if you just want to share something.
Reading, definitely, because that helps you with VARC as well. And it's reading news, it's a habit. You can't just be done with CAT and then suddenly read everything. At that time then you're like, because news comes in parts, right? It's always a story. Uska part aata hai. So you won't be able to relate if you're not reading it from now. So I feel reading is very important. Matlab that helps you with VARC also. It's a plus, it's a win-win. So reading news is very important, and apart from that, nothing to worry about right now. Right now one should focus on getting a CAT score, I feel.
Perfect. But yeah, because people think a lot about कि भाई मेरा ये profile है, मेरे को कौन सा college में.
Yeah, that is something that is not in your hands right now. मतलब interview prep के लिए बहुत time मिलता है. Like after your CAT, you do not have to worry about anything but your interview. So that time you can give complete focus to interview and then do that. But for now, I think CAT score is very important.
Very important. Perfect. Last question for you. How does it feel now? Finally, FMS, the ranked 4th college in the country, one of the best college. बहुत बच्चे dream करते हैं FMS के लिए.
Yes.
And it's not that easy to get into FMS because doesn't matter which background you're coming from. 98.6070 is the bare minimum cutoff. उसके नीचे तो बिल्कुल नहीं. How does it feel now?
So it feels great. Matlab, I couldn't believe it for the next 2 weeks after my result came. I used to just sit in my room and I used to think, oh my God, I got into FMS. It's the red building of dreams has come true for me, and I'm so happy. And so thankful for your help as well in this whole process.
Nothing. It's all your efforts. Like we had like 1% share in your success. 99% goes to you, man. So I again, wish you all the best. I know you are a person with a lot of caliber. Did we talk about your academics by any chance? Did you cover academics or?
No, not yet.
Achha, would you mind telling us your academics quickly? 10, 12, and 12?
Yeah. So my academic profile is 987. My grad score,
987.
yeah.
ठीक है. Now people will be हाँ ठीक है 987 ठीक है. हम relate कर पाते हैं. Otherwise it's like
Yeah.
999 and all that.
Yeah.
ठीक है, but still you nailed FMS. That's a big thing because उसका selection criteria is such that it gives importance to CAT score and it actually
Correct.
gives importance to everything, right? So amazing, Simran. Wish you all the very best and I wish you loads of success at FMS and may you get a
Thank
lot
you
of
so much.
placements from there. And I'll be around. If you need anything, I'll be around.